Welcome back, Guardians. Today's report is the tale of Jaren Ward and the eloquent last word. It is a weapon apexed by few, regarded as one of the most storied and astonishing tools wielded by any Guardian. There was a dalliance between Jaren Ward and the last word, as recorded by Shin Malphur, the weapon's ultimate inheritor. But this story does not have an ending of joy. Like most Guardians and frontiersmen of the time, Ward placed himself upon a treacherous path, unequal even in today's standards, to bring law and order to areas surrounding the city that had only used those words in hushed tones and secret gatherings. This was Ward's goal, his design as an individual and a Guardian, to rescue the frontier from itself and restore order. Many scholars would consider his victories Pyrrhic, as those he rescued often viewed Guardians with a certain caution. The frontier and its people were beleaguered by arduous years under tyrannical despots, incursion from the fallen house of devils, and creeping overtones of darkness-infused blights. To them, the expanding security from the city and its traveler was but another unwelcome ruler, except to one, a young man at the time, the writer we accredit this story to, Shin Malphur. The last word is a romantic weapon, a throwback to simpler times when steady aim and large rounds were enough to dispense justice in the wilds of a lawless frontier. Of course, some might say that time has come again. And perhaps those individuals are right. The traveler is recovering, but still we remain in one of the most precarious times in our history. We are beset by foes and devils whose strength outweighs our own. Returning to a more elegant time of old Earth weaponry, at least in spirit, may be called for. Hard iron and lead meshed together, an analog setup not often seen in the modern weaponry. The last word is iconic in its sound and implementation. Fan-firing lead causing calluses to appear on the palm and tenuous vibrations to be felt well beyond the forearm. The last word is truly a work of craftsmanship to be envied. But what isn't recorded and remained unconfirmed by Shin Malphur is the artisan that built the last word. Was it Jaren Ward, the frontier legend, or was it his precursor, an individual who had the ability to forge a romantic weapon of old Earth's western past? To that context, we can apply the art of forging a weapon of the past is lost, and the last word is the end of its line, another tool of warfare to be admired and utilized. The Records of Palamon, the first entry of Jaren Ward by Malphur, paint a tale of depravity and reality. Even in the city, supplies and resources are often scarce. Some materials are manufactured by Glimmer, but frontier towns and outposts lack these foundries. Malphur described the area in his youth as a town nestled away from harm, stating, "Wooded mountains that shot with purpose towards the sky. Winters were harsh, but the trees and the peaks hid us from the world." Malphur would describe Palamon as a town lacking government, but it attained the standard birthrights and regulations developed by any fringe society until Magistrate Loken, the town's eventual overseer, developed a tendency to exploit the power confirmed by his position. To be fair, Malphur depicts Loken as a man, not a devil or entity of the darkness, but an individual whom, like any of us, changed after losing so much. Life tends to do that. Take precious things, irreplaceable things from us at whim, because it can or because it doesn't care. And our actions are often scrutinized without valuable context. Malphur depicts Loken in a cold but fair fashion, dressing him in words lacking of any hatred or mire, stating, "I was young, so I barely understood. I remember Loken as a hard-working man who just became broken. Mostly, I think he was sad and frightened. As his fingers tightened on Palamon, people left. Those who stayed saw our days become gray." Malphur's descriptions of Palamon is akin to many of the frontier towns prior to the expansion of security provided by the tower. What remains truly interesting of Malphur's report is the arrival of Jaren Ward, the legendary hunter who to this day Guardians attempt to emulate. There was a softness about him, as presented in multiple accounts, but the words of Malphur will do Ward more justice than any historical accounting could ever hope to achieve. Jaren Ward awaited an official reception from the government of Palamon and Magistrate Loken. Whether for terms of security or for annexation by the consensus is unknown, but what is provided is the ideal hunter, a guardian of the light, presented through the eyes of a child. This man was dangerous, but there was a light about him, a pureness to his weight, that seemed to hint that his ire was something earned, not carelessly given. As we waited for Magistrate Loken to arrive and make an official greeting, my patience got the best of me. I shook free of my father's heavy hand and made the short sprint across the court, stopping a few paces from where this new curiosity stood, a man unlike any other. Malphur idolized Ward, even at a young age, the first guardian he had ever seen with a weapon that spoke of battle and duty, not often seen in the wild of the frontier. In an instant, Ward did something no one predicted. He knelt before a child, one of the smallest and most harmless beings humanity can offer. Ward showed in that one moment that his essence was transformed not by warfare and murder, but by protection of the smallest and dearest things, our legacy. Any parent can confirm this as fact. The one thing they hold more closely to their breast in their own lives is the small meanderings of a child created by their flesh and blood. To guardians, we are their children. They're charged to protect against the oncoming hordes of vile enemies. Perhaps Jaren Ward saw a son in Malphur, something in the frontier he had never seen previously, curiosity for the light. A child attracted to his being, not because Ward was powerful or enigmatic, but because his presence as a guardian demanded it. He was pure, the true epitome of what it is to be a guardian. To a child of the frontier, this guardian brought security, duty, and honor, a future that could only be created and harnessed in the mind. Malphur wrote that Ward was his third father. Fictive kinship is a precious oddity, as it is created out of a lasting respect and true love found within a being. When created by a child who has the burden of naivety and a boundless hope, it is perhaps one of the most powerful intangibles we may ever know. It cannot be contained, and most certainly, it cannot be recorded. After the events of Palamon, it is speculated that Jaren Ward would raise Shin Malphur to become one of his own, a hunter and a guardian, or at least a pseudo-version of a guardian. Of course, there are multiple versions describing the culmination of Shin Malphur, but what is certain is the fall of Jaren Ward at the hands of a most notorious enemy. An event that would spark the spirit of vengeance and the passing down of the last word. In the next report, we will discuss the tragedy to befall Jaren Ward and an end to the villain known as Jaren Ward.